A man, as a general rule, owes very little to what he is born with. A man is what he makes of himself. A man's own judgment should be the final appeal in all that relates to himself. The most successful men, in the end, are those whose success is the result of steady accretion. What this power is I cannot say. All I know is that it exists, and it becomes available only when a man is in that state of mind in which he knows exactly what he wants and is fully determined not to quit until he finds it. Man is an animal which, alone among the animals, refuses to be satisfied by the fulfillment of animal desires. It is the man who carefully advances step by step, who is bound to succeed in the greatest degree. There cannot be mental atrophy in any person who continues to observe, to remember what he observes, and to seek answers for his unceasing hows and whys about things. Don't keep forever on the public road, going only where others have gone. The inventor is a man who looks around upon the world and is not contented with things as they are. He wants to improve whatever he sees, he wants to benefit the world, he is haunted by an idea. The spirit of invention possesses him, seeking materialization. Wherever you may find the inventor, you may give him wealth or you may take from him all that he has, and he will go on inventing. He can no more help inventing than he can help thinking or breathing. When one door closes, another one opens. Leave the beaten track behind occasionally and dive into the woods. Every time you do, you will be certain to find something you have never seen before. Of course it will be a little thing, but do not ignore it. One discovery will lead to another, and before you know it, you will have something worth thinking about to occupy your mind, and really big discoveries are the result of thought. Night is a more quiet time to work, it aids thought. Great discoveries and improvements invariably involve the cooperation of many minds. Concentrate all your thoughts upon the work in hand. The sun's rays do not burn until brought to a focus. The day will come when the man at the telephone will be able to see the distant person to whom he is speaking. One day there will be a telephone in every major city in the USA. The telephone will be used to inform people that a telegram has been sent. Such a chimerical idea as telegraphing vocal sounds would indeed, to most minds, seem scarcely feasible enough to spend time in working over, I believe, however, that it is feasible and that I have got the key to the solution of the problem. It is not, of course, complete yet, but some sentences were understood this afternoon. I feel that I have at last struck the solution of a great problem. Grand telegraphic discovery today. Transmitted vocal sounds for the first time. With some further modification, I hope we may be enabled to distinguish the timbre of the sound. In this experiment, made on the 9th of October 1876, actual conversation, backwards and forwards, upon the same line, and by the same instruments reciprocally used, was successfully carried on for the first time upon a real line of miles in length. The day is coming when telegraph wires will be laid onto houses just like water or gas, and friends converse with each other without leaving home. From my earliest childhood, my attention was specially directed to the subject of acoustics, and especially to the subject of speech, and I was urged by my father to study everything relating to these subjects, as they would have an important bearing upon what was to be my professional work. Dumbness comes from the fact that a child is born deaf and that it consequently never learns how to articulate, for it is by the medium of hearing that such instruction is acquired. Can imagination picture what the future of this invention is to be? We may talk by light to any visible distance without any conduction wire. In general science, discoveries will be made by the photophone that are undreamed of just now. To my delight, he came and declared that he had heard and understood what I said. I asked him to repeat the words. He answered, "You said, Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." I have heard articulate speech produced by sunlight. I have heard a ray of the sun laugh and cough and sing. I have been able to hear a shadow, and I have even perceived by ear the passage of a cloud across the sun's disk. The final result of our researches has widened the class of substances sensitive to light vibrations until we can propound the fact of such sensitiveness being a general property of all matter. Educate the masses, elevate their standard of intelligence, and you will certainly have a successful nation. Before anything else, preparation is the key to success. My knowledge of electrical subjects was not acquired in a methodical manner but was picked up from such books as I could get hold of and from such experiments as I could make with my own hands. Perseverance must have some practical end, or it does not avail the man possessing it. All really big discoveries are the results of thought. We so often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door, that we do not see the ones which open for us. God has strewn our paths with wonders, and we certainly should not go through life with our eyes shut. The only difference between success and failure is the ability to take action. I may be given credit for having blazed the trail, but when I look at the subsequent developments, I feel the credit is due to others rather than to myself. The period that marks the incipiency of the telephone extends from the year 1874 to 1877. It was in 1877 that the telephone really began its commercial career. Boston is par excellence the home of the telephone, for it was here that all the apparatus was made and where the important experiments went on. To tell you the truth, as a practical man, I did not believe it. As a theoretical man, I saw a speaking telephone and that theoretically we had the means of reproducing speech in distant places. In the case of new inventions, we are generally led to believe that the public is ready to swallow anything, but that grave scientific men are the most skeptical of all. I found this not to be true in the case of the telephone. They came and talked successfully through the telephone, so that Japanese was the first foreign language to be spoken over the telephone. On April 4, 1877, was opened the first telephone line, the first line specially built for telephonic purposes. It simply connected the office of Mr. Charles Williams, Jr., in Boston, with his house in Somerville. I had made up my mind to find that for which I was searching, even if it required the remainder of my life. After innumerable failures, I finally uncovered the principle for which I was searching, and I was astounded at its simplicity. I have always considered myself as an agnostic. Watson, if I can get a mechanism which will make a current of electricity vary in its intensity, as the air varies in density when a sound is passing through it, I can telegraph any sound, even the sound of speech. A person without a practical end in view becomes a crank or an idiot. Such persons fill our asylums.